The world that we see is very much a product of the solutions that a lot of men have created and we have been forced to live in. But I think that the world that we are living in is becoming, we're reaching a point where it's untenable and there has to be a pivot point. And I think that Black, Indigenous women and femmes of color are very much the catalyst for that pivot. I do not feel like I let myself recover from my trip last week. And so that coupled with the fact that I've done yard work and it is very much springtime, um, I think yeah, I've have not felt my best. I have felt very tired consistently every day. And it's probably not helping that I'm staying up late and then waking up early or waking up in the middle of the night. I think in the upcoming week, I'm probably going to take it a bit slower and rest, um, knowing that resting is absolutely a part of building, as counterintuitive as it seems, resting and stopping or slowing down at the very least is a very much deep part of building. This video will probably be kind of quick, I guess getting straight to the point um, of what I want to talk about. Something that came up this week was um, actually from a family member. Um, they asked me, so something along the lines of, um, so will you stop saying black and brown people anytime soon? As in like relating to my work. And I was kind of taken aback a little bit by that. Reverb Root, it's for, and I'm very intentional when I say Black, Indigenous women and femmes of color. I'm intentional about that for a reason because I believe that we are the ones that will create the solutions that will progress us all into the future. Oftentimes, women and femmes of color, we are the ones when we come up with solutions, we're don't not just thinking about ourselves. We oftentimes the solutions that we create benefit everyone as a whole. It lifts us all up. And that's not always the case. Oftentimes not the case when it comes to men. The world that we see is very much a product of the solutions that a lot of men have created and we have been forced to live in. But I think that the world that we are living in is becoming, we're reaching a point where it's untenable and there has to be a pivot point. And I think that Black, Indigenous women and femmes of color are very much the catalyst for that pivot. And so when they said, do you plan on do you plan on stop using black and brown after a while? Again, like I said, I was kind of taken aback because it never, I don't know, it's always been something in the back of my mind. I know that there's a long history of tension within lots of communities, um, lots of feelings of anti-blackness, of classism, racism, like all the things meld together. I think that's a product of colonialism and capitalism. It benefits the wealthy and those in power, and it's ultimately to the benefit of white supremacy. Um, but I guess in my mind, I didn't really think about the fact that that could potentially be a hindrance for people engaging with Reverb and Root and the work. Um, which makes me, I'm understanding of it. I get it. Um, I also get that the work that I'm doing and what I'm building will not be for everyone. Um, but that I think that it's really sad the cage that we have been placed in, um, to not be able to see beyond, um, to not be able to see the benefit of cross-cultural collaboration and connection. And I say that it's a cage because it very much is, and it's been designed that way. because if people actually got together and started comparing notes, I think that people would realize that a lot of our notes are very similar and there's a lot of overlap. Um, and I think that by keeping people separate, um, especially women, I'm not sure if it's the same in every community or country, but here in the United States, it's like a rite of passage for women to be basically separated from each other through either cattiness or competition. Um, it that is like I think it's like a rite of passage that you are, you cannot trust girls. Girls cannot trust each other. Girls only exist for the benefit of boys and men. And therefore, security is found in that. And therefore, any other girl or woman that you see next to you is a threat to your security. And I think that I hope that I can say with accuracy that we are moving away from that, but that very much still exists. And so, knowing that we live in a world in which girls and women are ripped apart from each other on purpose, because again, similar to ethnicities and cultural identities and communities, if women compared notes, the notes would very much probably be copy paste in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, I think that it's a cage. It's a cage. I think that it's something that our ancestors since colonialism have been, we've all been in it. I think maybe the cage has just gotten bigger, and so we feel like we're not necessarily in a cage, and maybe instead of um, metal bars, it's more transparent glass, bulletproof glass or something like that, or plastic. But still, I think that it's a real disservice to ourselves and liberation to only see it in that way, to limit ourselves in the ways that we're willing to collaborate with other people and connect with other people. As someone who has had conversations and interviewed people from all over the world, I find that the more people I talk to who are different than me, who come from completely different worlds than me, the more connected I feel to this world and to other people. Um, and there's something both beautiful and heartbreaking about that, about seeing myself and my story in other people, because the story of oppression, of um, loss, love, all of it, it's beautiful because I can see myself in other people, but it's heartbreaking because even though I am young and I've got a long, hopefully, long life to live of being able to connect with people, it still breaks my heart that even when I talk to people and collaborate with people, I realize, like, with more apparent I guess if that's a word, that I it's a reminder that I still live in a cage, um, exist within this system that puts me within these boundaries that I'm constantly having to um, bump up against and find ways to break out of. So yeah, all that to say, I'm very intentional with Black, Indigenous women and femmes of color because I believe that we all belong with each other. And I really envision a world in which seeing the world as it is broken and I mean wars everywhere, pollution, climate change, like all of the things. Um, I think that there will be many of us, a growing number of us, who look up and see the world and recognize that the world that we live in is the world that we live in because people imagined it to be this way. And if we can imagine a world to be, if they can imagine a world to be the way that it exists now, then we can imagine and work towards a world to be the way that we believe that it should be, which is some one that is healthier and more aligned and cleaner and just better for all of us. So that's my thought right now. That's what I've been thinking about. Um, that, and I'm appreciative that they mentioned it, even though it did throw me off a little bit. But I'm appreciative that they mentioned it because it's giving me a new thing to think about in terms of how to bring people together in such a way that it can build trust and safety and real belonging so that people don't feel like they have to um, essentially break themselves apart in order to fit in. And yeah, so I'm thinking on that a lot. In terms of what I'm like working on. Dream Lab is going well. I have a link. I'll add the link in the description for those who want to sign up for the wait list because I'm hosting a workshop. If you're interested, if you've got an idea, a project, a dream that you have been wanting to get off the ground or are wanting to be able to build within a community of other people who are also building, then I highly suggest that you join the wait list and I will send you an email with the dates. It'll be sometime in April or May. But yeah, until then, I guess until next week, take care. Bye.